Talk a little bit about what your experience of playing cricket in the US was like and how you see that translating 4 years from now when the Olympic Games are played in the US itself.
Yeah, I think it was really good. I think in terms of I think it was a great effort on the part of the ICC to take the event to the US and expose that level of that audience to the game. I mean, we know there's an incredible audience for cricket in the US. We know that from just the number of people who travel from the US to other World Cup events. So just the number of people who follow a lot of the websites or who follows cricket from the US. I'm sure a lot of them are from the subcontinent or from a lot of the Commonwealth countries who do that. But there is a huge market for the sport. There's a huge, more than a market, I mean, that's probably Harsh's word, more than mine. But there's a huge passion for the game in the US. And and it was really nice to be able to play in the US, and some of those games were just packed. The India-Pakistan game, the India-US game. I was also fascinated. I think there was this game, I wasn't there, but there was this game, I think there was a Nepal-Sri Lanka game. Apparently that got washed out. But it was packed. Apparently there were so many Nepalese who came out to support their team, and that was the other country that I think had a phenomenal World Cup. Leads into Jeff's point that just growing the game and having more people play the game was phenomenal. So I think a lot of those objectives were really achieved at the World Cup. I'm sure Jeff and his team, would have learned from some of the experiences out there. There were some learnings on the actual cricketing facilities that were available, which I think is something that you can take into the next cycle or into the next event 4 years later. So I think the potential is truly there in the US. It needs to be tapped into. It needs to be encouraged more and more. Just the fact that countries like Nepal, countries like the UAE, countries like Pakistan, India, they actually all play in the US and have incredible amount of support. Bangladesh as well, Sri Lanka. I think there's a great opportunity there, and especially for US cricket as well, to build on this success and really grow over the next 3 or 4 years, and to build on the facilities. I think one of the key things in cricket, I think, is slightly unique. We are a unique sport in the sense that facilities make a huge difference. I think they make a difference in any sport, but especially in cricket because it's tough and it's still one of the few sports that is played on a natural surface. To get that level of quality and to get that level of entertainment, that is the part that needs to be got right. And I think, we've learned, I'm sure ICC has learned a lot through this experience, which will only get better and better. But truly love playing in the US, love the effort that went into it. I think a top job done by the ICC on getting that there.
Playing games at 10:30 in the morning, what are your thoughts on how sort of scheduling? Also, you referenced the conditions. If there's ways to make sure that you get more T20 conditions so you can get games that are higher scoring and as a result more entertaining.
So I'm not really, I don't think starting at 10:30 to me honestly was a problem. I mean, we are in the entertainment business. We are in a business which has got to cater to the people who want to watch the sport. I mean, I think I had absolutely no problem with it being at 10:30 in the morning. In fact, as a coach, actually it made the conditions quite even, because a lot of times in the day-night games, dew becomes a huge factor. And a toss can become a big factor, as we saw sometimes even in Australia. But at 10:30, that was not a factor. It was an even Stevens game for both players. So from a coaching perspective, in fact, I actually didn't mind the 10:30 game. Yes, in terms of facilities, I think it's challenging. Cricket it's not easy. It's not easy to get cricketing facilities where they don't exist. To get that up and running, it's not easy to do that. But again, I think that's where, of course, things may not be perfect every time. But if you want to grow the sport, if you recognize that to truly make it a global game, to make it something that is recognized in not just the Commonwealth nations, but truly all over the world, then you've got to be at events like this, you've got to be at the Olympics, and you've got to make the compromises that are required to be at events like this, even if it means playing in odd hours, and sometimes playing in conditions that might not necessarily be perfect.